Have you ever noticed that the people who seem the most attractive, confident, and respected are often the ones who appear least desperate for attention? They don't chase validation. They don't beg for approval. They don't panic when someone pulls away. Instead, they possess a quiet confidence that draws people toward them naturally. This quality is known as detachment, and it is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. Many people think detachment means not caring, becoming cold, or avoiding relationships. But true detachment is something entirely different. It means caring without becoming dependent. It means valuing people without needing them to validate your worth. And surprisingly, this mindset often makes you far more attractive and irresistible than constant pursuit ever could. Most people spend their lives chasing. They chase attention, affection, recognition, and approval. They believe that the more they pursue something, the more likely they are to obtain it. While effort is important in many areas of life, relationships and social dynamics often operate differently. The harder you chase people, the more pressure they feel. The more desperate you appear, the less attractive you become. Why? Because desperation signals scarcity. It suggests that your happiness depends on someone else's response. Detachment begins with understanding a simple truth. Your value does not come from other people. It comes from who you are. The moment you stop relying on external validation to feel worthy, something powerful happens. You become less anxious, less needy, and more confident. People can sense this shift immediately. Confidence attracts. Neediness repels. One of the reasons detachment is so powerful is that it creates emotional stability. Most people ride an emotional roller coaster. If someone praises them, they feel great. If someone ignores them, they feel terrible. Their emotional state constantly depends on circumstances outside their control. Detached individuals operate differently. They appreciate positive experiences, but they don't depend on them. Their sense of self remains stable regardless of external events. Imagine two people interested in the same opportunity. One person becomes obsessed. They constantly worry about the outcome, overanalyze every detail, and panic whenever something goes wrong. The other person gives their best effort but remains emotionally balanced regardless of the result. Which person appears more confident? Which person appears more attractive? In most cases, it's the second person. Detachment creates calmness, and calmness is often mistaken for strength because it reflects inner security. Another reason detachment makes you irresistible is that it eliminates the fear of loss. Fear influences behavior more than most people realize. When you're afraid of losing someone, you may become controlling, jealous, or overly accommodating. You stop being authentic because you're focused on preventing rejection. Detached people don't behave this way. They understand that relationships should enhance life, not define it. As a result, they interact with greater freedom and authenticity. People are naturally drawn to those who seem complete on their own. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or rejecting connection. It means developing a life that feels meaningful whether others approve of it or not. Detached individuals have goals, passions, values, and interests beyond relationships. Their happiness isn't concentrated in a single person or outcome. This independence creates an attractive sense of abundance. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing attachment with love. Attachment says, "I need you to make me happy." Love says, "I choose you, but I can still be whole without you." The first mindset creates dependency. The second creates freedom. Healthy relationships thrive when both individuals maintain a sense of self rather than losing themselves in the relationship. Detachment also improves decision-making. Strong emotions often cloud judgment. When you're overly attached to a specific outcome, you may ignore red flags, tolerate poor treatment, or make choices that contradict your values. Detachment allows you to see situations more clearly. You evaluate people and opportunities based on reality rather than wishful thinking. Another powerful aspect of detachment is mystery. In today's world, many people constantly seek attention. They share every thought, every feeling, and every detail of their lives. Detached individuals often move differently. They don't feel compelled to explain everything or seek validation for every decision. This creates curiosity because people naturally wonder about those who are comfortable with privacy and self-assurance. Detachment also protects your peace of mind. Life is unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift, plans fail. If your happiness depends entirely on external conditions, you'll constantly experience emotional turmoil. But when you develop detachment, you learn to adapt. You stop resisting reality and start accepting it. This acceptance reduces stress and increases resilience. One of the greatest paradoxes of life is that people often receive more attention when they stop desperately seeking it. When you focus on your growth, your purpose, and your well-being, you naturally become more interesting. You're no longer consumed by what others think. Instead, you're busy building a meaningful life. Ironically, this is exactly the kind of energy that attracts people. The Stoic philosophers understood this principle centuries ago. They taught that peace comes from focusing on what you can control and releasing what you cannot. You can control your actions, your mindset, and your character. You cannot control other people's feelings, choices, or opinions. The more energy you invest in controlling the uncontrollable, the more frustration you experience. Detachment is not about becoming emotionless. It is about refusing to let emotions dominate your life. It is the ability to care deeply while remaining grounded. It is the ability to love without becoming dependent. It is the ability to pursue goals without becoming obsessed with outcomes. As you develop detachment, you'll notice several changes. You become more confident because your worth no longer depends on validation. You become more attractive because you stop chasing approval. You become more resilient because setbacks lose their power over you. Most importantly, you become free. Freedom is the hidden secret behind true attractiveness. People are drawn to those who are comfortable with themselves. They respect individuals who don't compromise their values for acceptance. They admire those who remain calm under pressure and confident in uncertainty. At the end of the day, detachment makes you irresistible because it communicates something rare: self-sufficiency. It tells the world that you value yourself, that your happiness comes from within, and that your life is already meaningful. You don't need others to complete you, because you are already complete. And when people see someone who is genuinely comfortable with themselves, someone who isn't desperate for attention, validation, or approval, they can't help but notice. That quiet confidence becomes magnetic. Because the most irresistible person in the room is rarely the one trying the hardest to be noticed. It's the one who knows their worth, remains detached from outcomes, and carries themselves with calm, unshakable confidence.